Hi, Chrissy. Happy podcast day.
Hey, Kristen. Thank you for welcoming me back.
We've been on hiatus
We have, because you have been taking care of me.
because you're an invalid.
Well, I'm not sure those would be the words I would use. I did have a full knee replacement, and it's been 2 weeks, and it's quite the adventure.
Invalid.
Co-host, whatever.
My intern invalid. So yeah, you're handicapped, or as I like to say, you're handy-capable. You're handy-capable because you are 15 days post-op, and
Yep.
you're doing fantastic.
Thank you. I will say that it has been a struggle, but I am incredibly grateful that you took the month off to take care of me when this all first started. I was very much against you doing that because I don't need you.
I know.
And I need you. I will tell you that I am quite impressed with how well you have come through. And I don't think I tell you enough how much I appreciate all the help that you have given me in the past 15 days, because it was still a very difficult road, but I'm very grateful that you're here helping me.
All right. Is that the oxy talking?
Funny enough, I'm only on Oxy at night now. I was able to wean myself off the daytime stuff pretty quick because I didn't want to become a meth head.
You weaned yourself off the daytime stuff in like 4 days. But also, can we go back? Because I really want to be offended at the fact that you told everyone that I was going to be a shitty caregiver.
First of all, I didn't say shitty caregiver. I said more things like impatient. And I mean, maybe you could put the video up where you were yelling at me with a bullhorn to get up. But it was more of, I was worried that you were going to be an impatient caregiver, because that's kind of your MO.
Careful.
You weren't. You were very patient. Well, you are so far. It's not over yet. So we'll see how it goes, because we're not done yet. I'm still struggling with sleeping and walking, and I can't bend my leg very far yet. So we'll see how long your fuse lasts. You always say you have a really long fuse. We're going to see how long it truly is.
I have a really long fuse, but then when it blows, yeah. Okay, so I think the funniest thing that happened has to do with the in-home nurse that came. Oh no, you're PT. So you had in-home PT, and I answered the door and I said, "Hi, come on in." And she said, "Well, hello." She said, "Why don't you take me to your mom?" And that made me laugh really hard. And I said, "You mean my wife?" Because she was not used to having someone as young as you have a full knee replacement. So,
well, and I would like you to finish that statement, because when she saw me, she went, "Oh my God, you're so young."
She did say that. And then she said, "Why did you have a knee replacement?" And that's what everybody is wondering. Did pickleball break you?
No, this is actually more of a long-term injury from work that has just cinched my knee. And it was time. I tried to kick the can down the road as long as I could. And I've known for years this had to be done, and it was time. And I'm going to shift a lot in my seat because getting comfortable is not very easy, but it was needed to be done. And I thought, why do I keep waiting? I had a surgery 6 months ago, trying to give myself more time, and it gave me about 6 months, and it was time to get it fixed.
Yeah. And you also left the part about how you fell off of a ladder and literally broke a chip off of your knee.
Yes, you're correct. That did happen about almost a year ago, actually. And that
was it that long ago?
It was almost a year ago that happened, and that was just aggravation, right? Because my knee had been swollen for so long, and I was actually damaging my other bones because it wasn't getting the proper blood flow. So when I did fall, just a piece of bone chipped off. It was time.
Okay.
It was time.
Well, listen, this has been quite an eye-opener for me, and I stand by what I say. It is harder for me to watch other people in pain. I would rather be in pain, because I just, when that PT lady comes over and beats the crap out of you, I feel the need to walk away. I can't handle it. So kudos to those caregivers out there that do this, and the nurses and people that take care of people. Man, it's like, it's a whole level of like just that empathy. And I know how much pain you've been in. So I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And I'm proud of you for keeping the fuse long. And I'm hoping that our listeners can continue to send positive energy that your fuse stays long, because
Yes.
I'm not healing as quickly as either one of us would care.
Mhm.
for. We would both like it to be happening faster. Frustration is starting to set in on my part and your part, and it's
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that we can both be gentle with each other.
So far, so good. Welcome to the Disruptors Creed podcast. I am shocked you are here. I'm Kristen Ziman, and I am here with my invalid intern, Chris.
Co-host.
And this week we are talking about something quietly revolutionary, which are words of affirmation. And this topic began because you and I, well, we've been watching a lot of TV this month or over the past 15 days since you're immobile.
We have
And we,
never watched as much TV
no,
in our
no,
entire life.
I don't hate it. I'm not going to lie. It's actually been nice taking a break, but our newfound passion is watching podcasts,
Yeah.
not just listening to podcasts, but watching them. And so you and I were watching A Good Hang with Amy Poehler, and on the show she had a guest by the name of Cole Escola. I had never heard of him. Had you?
Yes.
Okay, so I did not know who he was. Um, you know what? I'm sorry. And he goes by they. Actually, he's non-binary, so I need to make sure that I get that label right. So it's not out of disrespect that I do that. It's like the grammar person in me. I think of they as plural, and I mean absolutely no disrespect by that. But so Cole Escola is the creator of the musical Oh Mary. So I have heard about this musical in New York, and it's critically acclaimed. People are loving it. They're calling it absurd. So Cole was talking to Amy Poehler about the overwhelming praise the show has received, like standing ovations, rave reviews. And Amy Poehler asked Cole, she said it must be so exhausting to greet people after every performance. And Cole responded without hesitation, I love it. I wrote the thing. People come up and say, I know you hear this all the time, and then offer a compliment, but honestly, it is never enough. I am working my ass off. I need the validation and I want the feedback after every single show. I loved that answer. A lot of people don't say that. They go into like that fake humility thing.
Yeah. No, and I think that that's a lesson because there's so many people. I will tell you that I learned that lesson a very, very long time ago. And although it was a very hard lesson to learn, it was a lesson that I am incredibly grateful for. And that is to always say the thing.
Mm-hmm.
To always tell people how you feel about them or what you are thinking. And I don't mean in a bad way. Like I can remember you and I were in a store one day and there was a woman who was right next to us. And I turned around and I looked at her and I said, "You are absolutely beautiful." And you kind of looked at me and she just lit up and said, "Thank you." When we walked away, you're like, "What was that for?" I said, "Because when I see it, I'm going to say it."
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know what her day's like, but she literally stopped me in my tracks when I saw her because I just thought she was beautiful. And I wanted to tell her that because I think it's
Yeah.
so important that we tell people or say, "I love you," because you never know if this is the last moment you're going to see or be with that person. So you
Mm-hmm.
always say the thing. When I hang up with my friends, I say, if I love them, I tell them, "Hey, I love you. Have a great day." And I
Yeah.
think it's so important to say the thing.
Yeah. And so that really tees up nicely the timing of this article then that I stumbled upon. I was just going through Substack and I saw this article written by Anna Sproul Latimer. And the title of her article, her piece was Please Tell Them You Love Them. And she talks about fan letters not being just meaningful for the recipients, but they unlock changes in you as well. And hearing you, it's all kind of cut from the same cloth. And hearing you say that you have taken on this new commitment to telling people when you think something. It's like you don't withhold compliments from people. And isn't it so interesting how when you see them light up, that makes you light up as well? And so her piece was a little more specific. It was about a moment that she actually reached out to a musician, a creator that she admired. And it had never occurred to her before that she would do something like that, even though she has enjoyed the music for many years. And that spiraled for me. And I started thinking of all of the content that I consume. So I looked at it in a little bit of a different way in these words of affirmation. And I framed it in the way how I feel when someone responds to a blog post that I write, or someone who has picked up my book and takes the time to reach out and says, hey, I just wanted to let you know I finished your book. I loved your book, or that blog post resonated with me. And how I just glow from that. And I feel a little bit like Cole in that moment. Like, yeah, I wrote the thing. So I want to hear how you feel about it. This is about telling people, reaching out and telling people that the work they do matters. And I like how you have spun it even a different way. And that's just when you're out into the world to share something that you see, again, not withholding a compliment. And I think that is so powerful.
Well, and I think that, like, I think in all ways, right, it just shows us how powerful words are and that they matter. And it made me think of right before I retired, a guy that I had worked with for almost 20 years pulled me aside and said, hey, I just want to thank you. And I said, for what? I mean, we had been friends, for almost 20 years. And he said, back in 2013, he had been through something pretty rough at work. And I remember seeing him and we were talking, and he said, you came up to me and everyone else was telling me congratulations. And, he had gotten, I think, the Medal of Honor or Valor or something. And he said, you hugged me and you asked me if I was okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And you looked right in my face and you said, that it's okay to not be okay. You went
Mhm.
through something really big and it's okay to not be okay. And he said, I never told you in that moment, but I went home and broke down to my wife. And that
Mm.
was when I started getting help to get through it. And he said, it
Wow.
was because you told me it was okay to not be okay, because no one had said that to me.
Sure.
And now I didn't know any of this. Fast
Yeah.
forward almost 10 years later, I'm retiring and he pulls me aside to tell me thank you for that. And I remember crying and
Yeah.
telling him how, because he's such a good dude, right? And he
Mm.
really had been through it. But it just reminded me of how powerful our words are. And whether it's, telling someone that they're beautiful because you think they're beautiful, or that they're funny, or what they do matters, is important. But it's also a giant reminder to me, with, you don't just say something because you see it. If it's a criticism, be careful the way you say it,
Mhm. Yeah.
because words do matter, and you can shape someone else's day or shape someone else's view of themselves by not being cautious and careful with your words.
Yeah. And, in the article that Anna wrote, what I had loved, and I'm going to quote her here, and she says, I mean, it didn't occur to me until yesterday, which is ridiculous. She wrote, there is no height of achievement at which praise from strangers loses its value. None. And, in your case, that wasn't a stranger, but, anyone. So I think all of these words of affirmation matter. I mean, I know that's one of is it 5 love languages in that book, that words of affirmation, and you can
Mhm.
take that quiz. And I fall very heavily into words of affirmation. My two are acts of service and words of affirmation. Yours aren't quite as much. I would say
No,
you're
they are
more,
not.
no, you're more physical touch and what is it? Time,
Yeah, quality time.
quality time, right? And, but yet it's so interesting. Even though words of affirmation aren't all that important to you, you're a really good giver of words of affirmation. And I just wonder why we withhold it. Like, do we often assume that like people are too successful, too established, or just don't need our affirmation? Like, why is that? And so that was enough of a nudge for me after I read her article, and it forced me to reach out to some people that I follow and I ingest their content on a daily basis. People like Seth Godin. There is a creator by the name of Sahil Bloom, and Roberto Ferraro. I sent emails to all of them after I read that article, and they all got back to me, which is insane, and said thank you so much. And one of them even wrote a blog post about receiving my email from a stranger. And so it really does cause this ripple effect, but it's absolutely made me wonder why we don't do it more often. Why do we hoard compliments like they cost us something? And why do we think admiration has to be silent?
Well, so I wonder, because, like, I know that's not my love language, but I know it's yours. So I understand, I understand that that's words of affirmation. But, like I said, for me, I learned that lesson very early by losing someone very close to me that I didn't get to have that last conversation with. And that always weighs on my heart. So I want to say the thing. And
Mhm.
when we talk about saying it to strangers, I think it's just everything I've picked up over the years from blog posts and podcasts and books that we've read. And really, even just in the job I did, where people I didn't know very well, every time we'd finish with a trial, they'd poll the jury. And, if my state's attorney came back to me and said, "Hey, listen, the jury foreman wanted you to know that your testimony was really key in convicting the offender," that was good for I loved that. It made me feel
Yeah.
like the reason why I was there was I was being successful to help these victims. So, and when I look at, especially now, right now, with the way the world is, and there just seems to be more hatred than love, that when I'm out and I see something that's beautiful, I want to name it.
Mhm.
And it's also reverse engineering your brain. Start recognizing all the beauty around you. And when you start seeing beautiful things, that's all you end up seeing.
Yeah, the good
And
things, right.
yeah, and that's what I want to put out in the world. I want people to remember that they are beautiful, they are smart, they are worth something. This woman walked past me. I noticed her because she just gave off this beautiful aura, right? She was beautiful. She looked happy. She just made me smile. So why not
Mhm.
tell her?
Mhm. Yeah, I wonder there's maybe a line there of, like, creepiness if somebody's like, "You're beautiful."
Well, I
So
didn't do it like that. I wasn't like, hey, no, but I just said, hey, you know what? I just want to tell you, you are absolutely beautiful. And I hope you have an amazing day. And I turned around and walked away.
yeah, that's so good.
So
And
it is
also
all in the delivery.
it really is, yeah, I wanna be
Like I
cautious
didn't
there,
ask
don't
for her number.
don't be going up to people. There's a line there,
Mm,
you have to use your
yeah.
emotional intelligence and, but also I wanna talk about 'cause I remember this, it was after you retired and we moved to Florida, and a letter was sent to our home. Was and for our listeners who don't know, Chris spent 8 years as a child sex abuse detective, and that was absolutely brutal work, obviously emotionally taxing and oftentimes thankless. But after you retired, you received a letter from a jury member on one of your toughest cases. And that woman wrote about the impact your testimony had, not just on the trial, but on the way the jurors processed what they heard. And what she said about you in that letter, I mean, she called you courageous and human. And I remember you reading that and just the way that you softened and the way that you just kind of lit up because we don't often get that recognition in real time and especially not in your line of work. So that's pretty cool that she took the time to reach out to you and pen that letter. That was
Yeah.
remarkable.
That meant a lot. It really did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so it got me thinking also about the people in our life, maybe the people that we do know that have had an impact on us. What about the teachers and the mentors? I think about all the people who taught me to think bigger, to lead better, and to speak up. And I've realized that there are some of them that have no idea of the impact that they have had on me. And I never told them, not because I didn't appreciate them, but because I don't know, maybe just I assumed they knew or worse. I mean, I'm not good at taking a compliment. So sometimes I make it awkward when I get one. And so maybe I just have told myself that it'll be weird, like too much or like unnecessary
Right.
or like we just talked about, or it'll come out wrong, and I'll tell someone they're beautiful and they'll be like, all right, creep.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There is something that makes me, it just, I kind of stop myself from doing it. And I want to get better at that after knowing how it feels to receive a compliment. So I want to make sure that I kind of rewire myself to give more compliments.
You could practice on me.
Okay. Even though words of affirmation is not your love language.
True, it's not, but I mean, I'm willing to take one for the team to help you learn.
Yeah, perfect. Good. But I think that's what words of affirmation do. They absolutely interrupt the narrative that we sometimes feel like what we do doesn't matter, right? Like it's this Groundhog Day. And when you receive a compliment from someone, no matter how small, that disrupts apathy, burnout, disengagement. It doesn't need to be some kind of motivational poster or speech or
No.
anything, but just something that says, I see you and I value you, and the work that you're doing makes a difference. Those words are so powerful and we need to use
Yeah.
them more.
Yeah, or even just, on a personal level, like I have a friend who is relatively newer friend, but I remember when I the first time I text her and I said, I know I don't want this to be weird, but you're a new friend, but I feel like there's a reason why you were brought into my life. Like
Mhm.
there's something about our friendship that just fills me. And I'm
Yeah.
very grateful for the friendship that we're developing. And thankfully she didn't think I was weird, and she came back and said the same thing, and our friendship has only gotten stronger. But it's like that you never know what that does for that person, where they are
Mhm.
in their life. Like, you need to be able to just say, I feel this, and what I'm feeling is making me feel like a better person, and I want
Yeah.
to say thank you for allowing or giving me that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that hits those good feel good chemicals on both ends. You feel it too. And I think that we can take this into culture and organizations as well. There's oftentimes we feel like we have to give big accolades where we have to give out awards or commendations or quote attaboys. And that's not necessarily true. I think about the times you have been on the receiving end of a quick email where a supervisor or a peer just said, "Hey, great job on that project today. Great job answering that call. You did a phenomenal job out there," whatever it was. And I think that's sometimes also what stops us from doing the thing because we believe that it has to be some sort of grand gesture when in fact it doesn't. It's just a very small nudge is all you really need to have the same effect.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's because especially because the big grand gestures, right? They're great, but they're grand and they're few and far between, right?
Mhm.
So it's the little things, it's the daily things, it's the small things that add up to bigger things, right? It's the deposits in the emotional bank account
Yeah.
by giving those small attaboys, or hey, great job today, or wow, you know what, I that was really interesting watching you do that. I learned something new from you, or whatever it is. But it's taking the time that when you're in a moment with someone, whether it's a coworker or a family member or anyone, and you learn something or you feel something, it's okay for you to look and go, wow, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And to friends as well. I don't think we do that for friends. Think about the moments that changed you or the advice that stayed with you or even the friend that just always answers the phone and sits with you in the mud and gives you that encouragement that you need at that right time. They're not there to solve your problems, but that quiet support that helps you stay the course. Think about the people behind those moments and now imagine what it would mean to them for them to know how you feel. And I think that's where we have to start reprogramming the way that we operate because that's what affirmation does. It connects us, it closes the loop, and it tells the truth out loud, to your point, before it's too late. What if there are those moments that you wish you would have said what you were feeling, but you didn't? And then you never got a chance to do that again. That's really, really powerful stuff.
I love this topic because I'm a giant believer in
Mm.
saying the words. If you feel it, and I'm talking about the positive words, not the shitty ones. You know, I've also I used to be the person when I was younger to be like, well, if you want me to be honest with you, and then I would be honest. And it's like even that, I don't even find that to be such a good thing anymore. Like
Mhm.
you can talk to someone from a caring standpoint and not be mean,
Mhm.
and not be critical, and just kind of let them find their way to the answer. So I think, like, I love the opportunity presents itself and I'm feeling something positive and beautiful and I can share it with the world. That's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, totally. I want to go see that musical now. Oh, Mary. Let's go to New York and see that.
Done.
That looked really good. I
As
went
soon
down
as
a
I can
rabbit
walk
hole.
more than a block,
Yeah.
we'll go.
I went down a rabbit hole on that chap, Cole. And
They're funny.
boy, So funny. Every talk show that they were on, I watched and laughed out loud. So check out Amy Poehler Good Hang, by the way,
Yeah.
if you need a good podcast that's extremely entertaining. And if you want to read the article, Please Tell Them You Love Them, I will link that by Anna Sproul Latimer. So I think the message is clear. Do you have something to say? Send the text, make the call, write the message. Don't assume they already know. And don't let gratitude live only in your memory. Maybe tell the person who helped you believe in yourself again. Tell them that their work was not wasted. Tell them their presence in your life mattered. And write to strangers too, even if you don't get a response, because I am telling you, just writing that email of gratitude made me feel great. Cool that I got a response, but I felt awesome without it. So I think the point here is the antidote to apathy is connection. And that's what really we're thirsty for. What we're craving is human connection and being kind to one another in this divisive, angry world. And so maybe if we can put forth the effort, our presence, and our care will mean something, especially on the days where we're not so sure ourselves. I think the power is within us if we just use it out there in the world.
Agreed. And thank you, Kristen, for not killing me in the
You're
past two
so
weeks.
welcome. I'm an excellent caretaker. Wait, I was corrected. A caretaker is someone who cares for a cemetery, right? I'm a
Yeah.
caregiver.
Well, right now, there were a few days I felt like I was in the cemetery.
All right, listen, man. I only got mad at you one time, and that was after I just cleaned the kitchen and your gimpy ass was on the couch and I was cleaning the kitchen and then I finished and I came and sat down and got comfortable and then what did you do? You asked for
I asked
popcorn.
for popcorn
You asked for
because I
popcorn.
had to take meds and I can't take meds on an empty stomach. So I just want
I had just
and
sat down.
okay, but how did you repay me? You salted it so much I could barely eat it. So
That was a mistake. That was a mistake. Yeah, it was not edible because I put too much salt on it. Well,
but I
that'll
had to
teach you.
eat it. I had to eat it anyways because I needed to take my meds.
That'll teach you for making me get up and make popcorn after I just sat down and got comfortable. But anyway, listen, Gimpy, you're doing a great job. You're going to be
You
running
are too.
marathons. You're going to be back on the pickleball court soon, and I'm proud of you.
Thanks, babe.
Okay, well, all right, disruptors, keep on disrupting. We'll see you next time. Bye. And that's a wrap on this week's episode of the Disruptors Creed, where we don't do average, and we sure as hell don't do status quo. It's produced by me, Kristen Ziman, because I like to be in control of everything. Musical score is by Ethan Reardon and Jake Ziman, because talent runs deep in this gene pool. If you like what you heard, do that thing. Click subscribe, like, follow, or whatever button keeps this chaos flowing into your ears. And if you didn't like it, you probably need it more than you think. Head over to KristenZeman.com and sign up for my weekly brain droppings, where I dump thoughts, disrupt your thinking, and hopefully light a fire under your ass. All conveniently delivered to your inbox every Monday. You're welcome. Now go out there and cause some good trouble. Until next time, keep on disrupting, my fellow disruptors. Onward and upward.